Basically, with this one, it's going to be a little bit of a rant. Now, when it comes down to the State of the Union, the whole fallout of the whole thing with it, we need to look at from the whole budget deal was we have Nancy Pelosi trying to act like she was going to hold off on letting Trump do the State of the Union from the House of Representatives, which I think was a whole big laugh because who's actually going to be losing out? The actual people of the country? I mean, give me a break. Are the people of the country really going to be losing out? Were the people of the country really losing out on the State of the Union? If you really walk down the actual street and say, oh my God, we can't see the State of the Union address from the House of Representatives. Have you ever seen a person actually go, oh my God, I'm going to miss the State of the Union address? Nobody has ever stated that. This is just a whole big fiasco that was set up, that's usually set up for the whole media to gawk at. And basically, I don't even bother watching the whole damn thing because it's a complete and utter waste of time. As we know, that is a complete and utter bunch of garbage. You're going to have Trump say USA, USA. People are going to clap. The Democrats are going to scowl. He's going to give some positive figures. You're going to have, after, there's going to be some people on the Republican side who are going to say some positive stuff. You're going to have some neocons who are going to complain about him pulling out of Syria. You're going to have some other people from more the Liberty end that are going to give statements after that are going to be positive on him going out of Syria. Then you're going to have Democrats that are going to scowl and say he needs to raise taxes, he needs to do all this horrible stuff, and that he's a racist and all this other garbage. And the same old stuff that happens year after year after year and day after day after day with this whole garbage stuff happening. And this is just the whole type of problems that we see with the State of the Union. Nobody wants to see it except for the media. The media laps it up big time, and that's who exactly it's made for. The legacy media loves these events because then they can state their 2 cents on it. You'll have the right wing part of the legacy media state their 2 cents of it, where a lot of them are neocons, where they're going to state they disagree with Trump on pulling out of Syria, and they're going to be positive on Trump on certain other areas, business-wise, even though there's a whole big bubble looming economically. And then you're going to have the rest of the mainstream media, rest of the mainstream legacy media, or the news media is going to basically try to blast Trump and say he's a Russian agent and all this other garbage, and say they need to get him impeached and all this other BS, and say that they need to raise taxes on the wealthy, and state this the USA was never that great, and social justice this, and racism that, and Russia this. And this is basically what you're getting out of the Democratic response. You're going to get it from basic, and it's going to be pretty much uniform throughout all of them. So they don't have to give multiple responses, but you obviously are going to get the same response from every damn one of them, and it really doesn't matter. They're going to state stuff on the whole thing of the country, and about social justice, and about green energy, and all this other hogwash, and about how the president needs to stop trying to enforce the borders, and how the president is cruel against Mexicans, even though, as I stated in my immigration video, and how I can state actually further here, is basically that Mexicans are the fifth lowest income earners, which is a major deal as we see. We will actually stay. One of the major things that is seen is if you go to uh, uh, basically look at income earnings by immigrants, you'll actually notice that it's the you'll actually notice that that if you look at the earnings, you'll see right at the bottom is Mexico's at fifth from the bottom at $38,000. Followed below by Burmese at 35,016, Iraqi at 32,818, Dominican at 32,3, and Somali at 24,185. This would show basically that they are not qualified income earners within the country. When they get to the United States, they don't do anything. These are people who basically are notorious for living off the system at best. Now, when we get to the people at the top, these are the people who basically are the ones who are going to do the best. Now, I actually found a much better list before that showed a different one. It was actually showing that actually showed the Indians one that was actually what it was showing before was the British as 5. It was showing 4 as the Filipinos, which for some reason I don't know why they're not shown on this list. Why they're shown down at 45 in this list. For some reason, this list must have been changed, or essentially it's probably not the same list. And it's probably consuming also non-immigrants as well. Third was actually Taiwanese. Second was Australian, which I am not even seeing on this as an actual difference so far. Yeah, I'm not even seeing Australian as an actual difference. Yeah, it must have been a different list. And the first was actually Indian, and there was actually different amounts. And what it ended up proving is basically that it's pretty much what we see is that what we hear out of the Democrats' mouths is basically a bunch of hogwash when it comes to immigration, because they're more just looking just for votes, and it's just gotten to be a bunch of BS from them. And if we're actually looking for some serious people who are looking for some serious uh, numbers of we're looking for some serious solutions for it is we need people who are actually looking for people actually coming in that are actually going to be productive. We need people near that top of the income scale, and this would be people, as I said, the Indians, the Taiwanese, the British, the Australian, and the Filipinos. These are the ones we want to bring in. We don't want to be blocking people like Filipinos in and using the excuse of, oh, they're going to bring their families in. If they're going to bring their families in, that's actually more reason to have them here, because if they're that productive and they're making basically about $89,000 a year on average per person, that's better off with it. We want productive people like that. When you're talking about wage earners, you don't want to be essentially saying, oh, we want to protect American earners. You look at the average American earner, they're a lot less than that. You want to essentially get these people who are essentially going to be very productive within the country. You don't want to essentially be against that. And we even see this basically is that we're seeing that with immigrants, and we're seeing across the whole spectrum is we're seeing that he's pretty much been with his production with it, it's still going to be positive for people overall, as long as you're willing to work. So basically, the people who aren't are going to be less productive, and as businesses grow, so you want the actual productive people come in here. You want to essentially ship out the people who aren't. The way to do this is end public aid, and that's going to essentially cause this to essentially eliminate the people who are not productive. And this will eliminate those people who are near the bottom, those 5 groups who I stated were. And it doesn't matter that you state that. It doesn't matter when we get these people stating, "Oh, we need that's just against Mexicans." I'm not against Mexicans. You're gonna come here. You're gonna be working your butt off. I had no problem with you, but the fact is when it comes to the average one, the average Mexican per capita across the U.S. isn't willing to work hard. The average Filipino coming into the United States is more than willing to go out there, bust their backside, come into the United States, and try their best to basically be either a 6-figure earner or really, really close to a 6-figure earner. You're never going to find that with a Mexican family when you're talking the average person. And that's the whole big difference between the two. It's a matter of who's willing to work hard. And that's the whole thing. Who wants to actually improve? And then who wants to actually sit at the bottom, complain, and basically just jump in one of these democratic unions and basically say, oh, I deserve a handout. When you get a Filipino, they don't come here saying, I want a handout. They say, I want an opportunity to make an honest living. Come here, and actually, they end up seeing the actual bright side of things. They want to come here, earn that big living, and actually make something of themselves. They end up coming here and actually see an actual opportunity no matter what they have to do to get it. And this is just that attitude that a lot of people used to have out there, but they just don't anymore, because the fact is they've totally given up. And this is where I rant on these whole things. This is why the State of the Union is a bunch of garbage. It's basically doesn't mean anything. And this is just something that the media loves. And frankly, the media can kind of go to hell when it comes to this. Frankly, I would love to see them go back to the old style of just submitting it, the State of the Union, in paper like they did originally. This is the way it was originally done. It was submitted in paper, and we all went on with our lives. The State of the Union was only done actually as a televised event because the fact is it became a media circus. We don't need this media circus anymore, and frankly, the media can go to hell as far as I'm concerned. Because we don't need the media actually getting any actual coverage or any actual highs from this actual event. They can kind of get bent as far as I'm concerned, because we don't even need them around. As far as I'm concerned, all legacy media, basically your major stations and your cable station news networks that are domestic news, can actually go, plus your all your major newspapers within the country that are controlled by these media conglomerates. If they went under, I would be a happy man. And when it comes down to these conglomerates that are actually controlling some of the internet stuff as well, such as Vox News and Media Matters and Slate and Daily Cause and all this other garbage like that, they can go, as far as I'm concerned, they can go under as well. I forgot to mention BuzzFeed as well. That's another piece of garbage as well. As far as I'm concerned, Weekly World News is a much better read than all of that hogwash put together, because at least you might actually get something entertaining out of it. It has about the same amount of truth as those things have together, because you don't find anything out of truth from the New York Times. You don't find anything out of truth from the Wall Street Journal. You don't find anything out of truth out of the Washington Post, the New York Post, any of these other pieces of garbage. Fox News, you only have a couple of hosts worthwhile for Fox News and Fox Business. The only ones I watch are Tucker Carlson and Kennedy. The rest of them can actually go to hell. When you have the actual ones like you go to CNN and MSNBC, you have that's complete utter garbage. You have the other mainstream channels, that's more garbage. And these are these morons that are actually feeding on this crap. I say starve them and actually let them die off. If you like this rant, I'll probably give you more ones later on, and to just kind of blow off steam. And like it, subscribe, click the bell, make sure to share this, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye, everyone.